So we're just getting started right now, and today we're going to talk about 3 quick fixes to help with your pedal stroke, and it's basically going to help your cycling. There's a lot of feedback. So the goal of this workshop is to teach you how to recognize. Can you see me? Can you see that? Teach you how to recognize any faults you have in your pedal stroke, and to become more comfortable on your bike and to be more confident on your bike. We'll wait as Luke lets people in. And then if he can make it small. Just, I can't see the text. Okay. There we go. So if you can go on to the next slide. So this workshop is for you if you want to increase your wattage and your confidence on your bike. And if pain and discomfort limits how much you want to ride or how much you want to do on your bike. And if you want to be able to train and ride hard, but injury is limiting you a little bit, I'm going to show you how you can start to work on these things and get improvements. So you can go on. So I just wanted to make sure you got the most out of this workshop. So I'm basically going to give you, I'm just going over little things you can do. So after the workshop, if you can get on your bike and either look at yourself in the mirror or film yourself and sort of apply what I'm going to teach you, and start to use the tricks I'm going to teach you about maintaining a neutral spine, which will help a lot with comfort. And then start to use the drills I give you. The drills are for everyone. So if that still doesn't help, then a pedal stroke analysis would be for you, because I can make it much more specific. So next slide. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am an applied movement neurology practitioner. So I treat people through functional movement and the neural system. I also have a bachelor's in kinesiology from Ottawa U. I'm also 25 years, I was a cycling coach and a director sportif for an elite women's team and guest with some pro teams, women's pro teams. And I trained with the Canadian national team as a director sportif, and I also raced at elite level for 10 years. And I'm gonna tell you about the people who also work here. So first will be my trusty assistant, my lovely assistant, Dr. Luke. I don't know if you can see him there. He's the clinic owner, he's a chiropractor, he's an endurance athlete. I call him the Swiss Army knife because he has so many tools he can use to help you. And he's a good sport because I'm going to make fun of him later and make him work hard. Here's the next one. And he said he would do his hair for tonight, but I'm not sure if he did. So there's Dr. Val, who's also a chiropractor. And she's really great resource for me and for everybody because she kind of works from the feet up. And as you see later in what I'm going to do, the feet are very important as part of a pedal stroke analysis and figuring out how your cycling can get better. And next one. Then there's Yannick, our massage therapist, and he's a sports massage therapist. And I put at the bottom there, a deep thinker. He analyzes everything. So if there's any issue when I'm looking at somebody's pedal stroke, I can just take it to Yannick and he points things out, and Yannick, and helps me out with that. And then continue on. And then there's lovely Eva. She's a chronic pain specialist. So she's great with overuse injuries and other things. And she's a runner and she is really good at analyzing movement. So again, like I was talking to her today about client and movement. So she's a great resource too. So we all work together to make sure things work the best for you. And you can go on to the next. So these are the subjects I'm going to cover. So just why it's important to have an efficient pedal stroke. If you're a cycling enthusiast, no matter your level, it's really important to be able to have good technique. And the first thing we're going to go over is why you need a bike fit, and why after having a good bike fit, the pedal stroke is so important. So it's for that power, for that control, and for being pain-free. And then lastly, I'm going to go over how you can implement this and use drills to improve your pedal stroke. So the bike fit is super important, because if your bike doesn't fit you properly, then you're not going to utilize the muscles in your legs properly. And you're not going to be balanced properly, which will have an element with control. So a good bike fit, your bike should feel like it has grown up around you instead of you trying to adjust to your bike. So when you're in a cycling position, you should feel that you're one with the bike, and then you know your bike fits you properly. And when that happens, then you can use all your muscles from your glutes, hamstrings, all the way down without getting back pain and without getting crotch pain, which I find is often an issue for a lot of women. So you can move on. So the first thing after you have your bike fit, it's really important to sit on your bike properly. So I'm gonna soon get Luke on the bike. But why is this important? You wanna have your back in a neutral spine for you. So if I give you an example with me, I have a little bit of an arch in my lower back, but if I keep my hips sort of in the same place and just tip forward, I'm on the bike properly with my seat bones on the seat. And that way I can keep my back in a nice, comfortable position. Part of this is about having a bit of core strength. You need core strength to be a cyclist. And it's about allowing all the muscles in your lower body to work properly. And when you're working really hard, actually your whole core works together with your legs. Your core is anchoring your legs, and it helps connect your arms and your legs together. So being able to sit with a neutral spine is essential to have a good pedal stroke. And I'm going to get you to switch, and then I'm going to get Luke to, so he's going to come over here. I'm going to move over here. And so if you look at the slides, you can see the different types of back position. So maybe I can point here. So this one here, where somebody has got their pelvis too tilted back, and they're probably sitting on their tailbone here, and they don't need to use their core at all, and they're putting a lot of pressure on their spine, and as a result, they're not going to get the use of their legs properly. So if you swing over to Luke, and then he can show. A lot of guys do this. You'll see this more in men than women. Yeah. So I'm going to come behind you. So if you see the arch in his back, and you're probably, I'm not going to poke him in the butt, but probably starts to feel uncomfortable. So start pedaling, Luke. And it gets kind of choppy because he doesn't have the use of his hamstrings, and he has too much use of his quads here. And then in order to maintain it, I'm not going to make him do it too much because it's probably pretty painful, but look how he's reaching for his bars, and the whole thing looks really uncomfortable. So go for lordotic. I see a lot of women doing this. I won't make Luke do this for too long, but you get an arch in the back. You don't use your core at all. And again, because the butt's sticking out, he's not able to use his muscles properly. And it probably hurts. A lot of women do this, and it hurts the front of the crotch. So go to a normal position. So if you look, you saw that Luke adjusted for a second. So the way to get seated on your seat bones, do you mind stop pedaling for a sec and stand up on your bike? So you're gonna stand up, find a neutral spine, and then just slowly drop yourself onto your saddle, and then see that a nice relax in the back. He has to use his core a little bit and then start pedaling. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's gotten smoother by just having his pelvis in the right position. And I'm sure for him, it's a lot more comfortable. And if you look at his shoulders and his arms, he's not having to reach as far forward, or when he had his back arched, he had too much weight on his hands because it was probably really painful. So I'm going to switch to the other slide. You can stop pedaling for a sec. I'll just switch over. If I know how to do this. Isn't it? No. Oh, there we go. So we're good. So I'm going to come next to Luke again. So the one way I teach people to get that neutral spine is to pretend they're a monkey. So if you look at the monkey in the picture here, looks like he's riding a bike already. He's got his seat bone down on the branch. And even though his back is arched, that's kind of a monkey back. But if you look at the tail is dropped straight down, and it kind of pulls that tailbone down. So if you think about imagine if Luke was a monkey and he had a tail coming straight down here, it would pull his, God, I'm so tempted to poke you in the butt, but I won't do it.
Okay, why can't I see that?
So his tailbone would come straight down and keep his pelvis in the right position.
Okay.
So when you're not sure, just imagine yourself with a really heavy monkey tail, and that tail is dropped down between your back wheel. And next one. So, and actually we can get Luke off the bike for a second. So now that you've got your pelvis position and your position on the bike, oh yeah, give Luke a little hand. He's the Vanna White of tonight. So why is the pedal stroke important? It's for power, obviously. It's also for control. The feet are the controllers of the bike in a certain sense. A lot of people think it's your arms, but it's actually your pelvis and your feet that control the bike. And then for pain-free cycling. And as you saw the way Luke had his back, it's either going to be comfortable or it won't. So go to the next slide. So we'll go over power first. So if you improve your pedal stroke, you will get power gains. When I was coaching female cyclists, the very first thing I did, wouldn't even worry about a training program. I got them on the bike and I improved their pedal stroke, and their wattage went up by 10, 15 watts, which if you're somebody who follows wattage, that's actually significant with very little effort. And it means that you're going to get a lot more out of your training. So if you're someone who pays for training or coaching of any type, just doing that one thing is going to make your dollars that you're putting into that training, or the dollars you put into your equipment. People spend a lot of money on their equipment, but without the technique, you like this gorgeous bike. It is really gorgeous. Without that technique, you're not wasting your money, but you're not making the most out of your money. So next slide. So I'm going to talk about efficiency. So I kind of like calculations. You can kind of look at this while I'm talking, but I see a lot of people who can put out a lot of watts, but they're actually not going any faster. So that's the true, like a lot of people will brag about what their wattage is when they're riding or climbing a hill or doing anything. But if you're not going any faster, what's the point? You're just making yourself tired. So really, energy efficiency is useful output of energy. So output over top of the total energy, or useful power output over top of the total power. So you want these two numbers to be as close as you possibly can. And that's when you get efficient. If you're putting out a lot of power, but it's not useful, who cares? So that's why good technique is really important. So I'll get you to go to the next slide. The next point is control. I use this picture because it's showing, this is the second big race I ever was in. And it's showing, it's actually a very steep climb, and how the feet are controlling the bike. And if you have a good efficient pedal stroke, allows you to connect your feet to the drivetrain or the cranks, and then allows you to control how you're going to move the bike or what's going to happen to the bike. This is 1985, Olympian, 4th in the Tour de France, Olympian, yeah. Where am I? I'm the very puzzled one back here because it was my second stage race and I couldn't figure out why she was attacking. So I'm like, what's going on? So you can go on to the next one. So again, here's an example of the feet controlling. There's a crash. These guys have got their feet holding on to their bike and they can quickly sprint out of there. If you look at him, he's able to lean the bike, control it, and not run over these guys. And so it's super important. Even here, he's able to take his foot out, but control with the other foot, just because of that connection with the pedals and the drivetrain. So you can go next one. Then pain-free cycling. So a really good pedal stroke means that you're going to be using your legs in the best biomechanical way, the smoothest way, and it's not going to be as hard on your knees and your ankles or even your feet. A lot of people get sore feet when they cycle. It's less load on the back because you'll start using your core a lot better. And it will allow you to increase your intensity if you want to, or it will give you a little bit of leeway of increasing intensity, taking a rest, increasing intensity, and without getting too many injuries. So I'll get you to continue on. So we're going to get Luke back on the bike, and we're going to look at a few of the common mistakes and then go over drills on how to improve them. So, so one of the biggest common mistakes, oh, if you could admit, Nicole. Oh, one of the biggest common mistakes I see is a very quad focused pedal stroke where everybody's just pushing down. So I'm just going to get you to demo that. So he's not using the big muscles back here. He's got strong quads, but they're nowhere near as strong as the muscles at the back. And if you can hear the clicking, that's showing that there's parts in the pedal stroke where there's like a bit of a lull. He's not letting the power full through. Can you guys see very well? I can come back here. Okay, I'm gonna get you to do a pedal stroke where you're using most of the inside. That's it. And maybe I'll get you to come to the front. And if people want to get up and have a look, but now he's not using the outside of his legs. And he's using just the inside of his legs, which means, again, there's a little bit of a lull in it, and it probably would start hurting his knees after a while. Now I get you to use only the outside. This is sort of a mountain biker. This is what mountain bikers do. But again, he's not using the full pedal stroke. It's kind of choppy, and he's only using the outside of his glutes. So now I'm going to get you to do one of those ones where you see the knees go all over the place. Yeah. So one thing when somebody's knees are wiggling all over the place, that means they're not using their muscles smoothly. Can you see from that? Yeah. Yeah. It looks awful, right? But this is an exaggeration. Now I'm going to get Luke just to pedal the way you would normally. So Luke has a pretty good pedal stroke, but I'm going to just improve it a little bit for you guys so you can see the difference. So I'm going to just skip under you, Sam. So Luke doesn't quite engage his hamstrings the way he should. So Luke, I'm going to get you to think of at the bottom of the pedal stroke coming back and up. So now it's very subtle, but he's just snapping his hamstrings up a little bit more. It's coming up through the back quicker. His pedal stroke is actually sped up because now he's got a little bit more power going all the way through. And now keep that going, Luke, and over the top, press forward and down. There we go. Suddenly it's all smoothed out and it's sped up because now he's connected all, and he's actually had to increase the gear to get the resistance because he's suddenly gotten that connection all the way through. Now I want you, Luke, to really focus on connecting the two pedals. So you want to think about pulling the cranks. There we go. And do you hear the hum? That nice smooth hum. Now he's got full power in his pedal stroke. And so I'm going to break that down for you guys. Oh, I don't think it's, oh, okay. So I'll get you to stop pedaling for a second, Luke. So I'm going to give you some drills to get to that point. So Luke, I'm going to get you to focus on your right leg. You can put it in an easier gear if you need to. So focus on your right leg and just pedal with the right leg and see what happens. Let the left leg. No, you don't have to unclip. Just let the left leg drag along. So this is how you would start with the drills. And then you would start thinking, okay, where is there something lacking? So if you look very quickly, there's a little bit of less power at the bottom of the pedal stroke. So the first thing I'm going to get Luke to do is think about the bottom and pull back and up with the right leg. Good. Now do the same. Now switch to left leg and do the same thing. And let the right leg just hang around and think about the left leg doing exactly what the right leg was doing. Good. Now go back to the right leg and reassess. This is what anybody can do in your warm-up, and you really have to think about it and think about what's happening. So he has his own thing where he doesn't engage his hamstrings as much as he could. Some people may not engage their quads as much as they could. So do you want to just demonstrate that? So with the right leg, demonstrate if your quads aren't engaging, press over the top and down forward. So always think of the foot going down and forward. This will always be choppier because it's not taking as much of the muscle as possible. Now do it with your left leg. And just feel the difference. That's it. Now do it with both legs, forward and down. You might need a bigger gear. That's it. And see how it gets him into that sort of grinding, which we don't want. So now you're going to start coming through the bottom and back. Don't worry about the top. That's it. And think about connecting those feet again. And now go forward and down. There we go. And connect it all the way around. And you want to focus on keeping the whole thing feeling like it's exactly the same all the way around. Once you get that feeling, I'm going to make Luke work a little bit. So put it in the harder gear, keep it there. Get your pedal stroke back. So he's maybe at 90 RPM. So take it up, take the speed up and keep the connection. That's it. Get the smoothness at a higher speed. Take it up again. We're going to go until he starts bouncing. Keep that connection. Take it as fast as you can without bouncing. Now hold it there. You're starting to bounce, so back off just slightly and hold it there and just power it through all the way through. Good. Now go back to what's the normal pace and keep the smoothness. Keep the smoothness. There we go. And so this should actually feel easier now because he's kind of stressed himself by going a little too fast. So do it again, Luke. Go start to take the speed up, but keeping the smooth, keeping the connection all the way through. That's it. That's really nice. What he's doing right now is super nice. Now take it a little faster. That's really nice too. Go a little faster. We're going to make it a little raggedy. There we go. So that's kind of his limit. Back off slightly so you can get to where as fast as you can go without. Keep it going. Keep the speed. Good. Keep it there. Really focus. Focus on that leg speed. And then go back to your normal speed. And keep the there. And see, it's gotten a lot more fluid just by changing that speed and going up and down through the speeds will keep him a lot more fluid. How are you feeling, Luke? Not a little sweaty? Now I'm going to get you to add as much power, as much gearing as you can. Make it as heavy as you can. I'm going to go over these again, but I just want Luke to demo them. Yeah. I thought you were a mechanic. So he's now got as much gear as he possibly can. And now take the speed up again. Keeping it smooth. Good, keep it there. Hold it there. Now start to ease off the gearing and keep it smooth. So it's gonna, you won't have to put as much power, so you're focusing on, and change the gear again. Keep it smooth. That's it, really focus, change the gear again. That's it, keep it smooth, keep the speed the exact same. One more time, make it easier. Keep it smooth. Don't let it speed up. Keep it the same, but keep it smooth, which is actually really hard to do. Now go back down the gears again. That's it. So what I'm doing is I'm getting him out of his comfort zone and trying to force him to be as smooth as he can, no matter what he's doing. And this will train the muscles to just work smoothly and together, no matter what's happening. And see, now he's actually smoother at this harder gearing. Good, so you can ease off now. I'll give him a break. And I'll go over those. So what I did is one-legged. So assessing where you have the weakness. So start by forward and down, one leg, forward and down the other leg. Then pull back and up, one leg, pull back and up the other leg. Then put it all together with one leg, put it all together with the other leg, and then put the two together. And what you want to think is, remember, a bike's got a crank, right? It's all attached, and makes that feeling of the crank actually working. And how are your legs? Okay. And you're almost pulling the crank apart and using it as much as you can. So that's sort of the first drill. The next drill is to go through different speeds in the same gear. So you can Start where you feel comfortable and slowly take the speed up, focusing on keeping everything as smooth as you can until you start bouncing. Then you back it off a little bit and hold that for a little bit. Then you go back down to where you feel really comfortable and repeat that a few times. And that will get you comfortable, keep being smooth in different leg speeds. Then you do the same thing with your gearing. So you're keeping the leg speed the same, but you're changing your gearing, making it harder and easier, trying to keep that smoothness, trying to keep the same pace the whole time, the same leg speed the whole time. And if you practice that in your warm-up or when you're just getting started, you're going to have a perfect pedal stroke eventually. And one thing I want to do is to show you what a perfect pedal stroke is. So we have a video of the world champion from 2020. It's Anna van der Breggen. Oh yeah, Luke is going to get that for me. And it's basically a demonstration of what a perfect pedal stroke would be. Okay. And we'll just get this. And this is Anna van der Breggen. Oh, we're just sharing the video. I wonder if you can see. So she's pulled herself up on the bike because she's time trialing, but look how smooth her legs are. You can't get any smoother than that, really. Now we'll keep on, I'll let it go a few times so you can look at that. And one of the best ways of improving is to actually visualize yourself doing it as well as somebody who's an expert. So I'll let it keep going for again. And just look how her legs are like, it's like a motor. And they're working perfectly together. And sometimes if you just visualize that and try it yourself, that's another way of slowly improving your pedal stroke and your cycling. And we'll look one more time and then we'll stop it. She's probably the best technique-wise of any pro cyclist I know, male or female. So she's a really good example. Good, and you can stop it. And we can go back. So we'll go to the next slide. So your course of action is you can get a pedal stroke analysis with me. If you're not feeling like you can do this on your own, probably a pedal stroke analysis will, especially if you have pain, knee pain, back pain, or if you want to improve your wattage, definitely pedal stroke analysis. Next thing you can do is practice visualizing the perfect pedal stroke, like Anna van der Breggen. Just visualize yourself and start adding drills to your cycling. Don't get too enthusiastic with the drills. You have to increase with the drills slowly because they'll start to engage muscles you probably haven't been using, and you can get injured quite easily. So only what I would tell people is when you warm up, start with them very lightly, those one-legged drills. And then every time you go from a stop to a start, say you have to stop at a stop sign or a stoplight, then for maybe 5 minutes after that, or even just a minute, practice the perfect pedal stroke. Then forget it, go and have fun. And the next time you stop, try it again, and it will slowly integrate. But if you try and go for a 2-hour ride, focusing on the perfect pedal stroke, it's going to be miserable. You won't have fun. And also you'll probably end up injuring yourself. So we don't want that. We want it to be fun, and we want you to improve slowly. So you can go to the next. So I just wanted to say, what's part of a pedal stroke analysis? This is something I've created for myself. So there's usually 2 visits. They're about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. The first one, I'm assessing your position. I'm assessing your core strengths. I'll get Luke to actually show you that because I forgot to get him to show it. So what I get people to do is get on their bike, get into position, and then take their hands off the bars. See, and then see how low you can go. So there we go. He's got pretty good core strength. Some people can't even go without falling. So that's one thing I'm assessing to make sure you have the strength to be in the right position on your bike. You can get off if you want. Yeah. And then I usually video your pedal stroke, and I take pictures or video if you're doing things like squats, even walking. We do a foot analysis where we can scan your foot so that we can see what's happening from the ground up. And then you go away for a week. I look through all that information, come up with an analysis and an interpretation of the results. And then I have drills that are specific to you and your issues, and basically a plan of action. Maybe it would be certain types of strength training. Maybe it would be some kind of drills you can do when you're cycling. Might even be something for your feet, some exercises for your feet. So go to the next. So thank you for coming. And this is my email. It's on the website of the company. So you can, if you have any questions, just email me and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And for anybody who's come, I'm giving a 20-minute free consultation as a thank you for coming to the talk. And if you do want to book a pedal stroke analysis or treatment, you can just go onto the website and book under me. There's different options. That's it. So I have left questions till the end. So people who are online, you can type in questions if you have any questions. And anybody live, do you guys have questions whilst they're typing, or anything you want it elaborated anymore? No? That's, sorry? So that there may be a couple of reasons for that. The figure eight may be because you have a tightness in your hips. So, oh, okay. So then it kind of lifts up one leg. So in order to compensate, you get this kind of figure eight going on. So probably the first thing to do is to balance out the hips, see what's going on with the feet, and that will probably sort it out. If it doesn't, the other thing that can happen from that is because you have an imbalance, and then there may be exercises to do around that. Do you have any knee pain when you're riding? Okay, good. Yeah. Is there anything else? No? Well, that's a great question. Yeah, you want that nice smooth whir. It's not that. What about foot pain? So if somebody has foot pain when they're cycling, there can be a couple of things going on. It could be the shoes. The stiffer the bottom of the shoe, the better for your feet. It could also be, or that the shoes are too tight for the front of your, if this was a foot, for the front. But a lot of people get foot pain right under the ball of the foot. And that can be from having this kind of position with your feet and pressing down too much and not thinking of that up and back. So try working with the pedal stroke, and that might actually help with a lot of foot pain. And I'm looking at the next, what's that one? If you're, okay. Is there hand or shoulder positioning of the elbows? So if you're getting pain in your hands and shoulders, either you need a bike fit or you're not sitting properly on your saddle. If you remember when Luke was kind of with his back curled and he was having to reach, that would give you a lot of shoulder pain. If your back is arched and you're letting your belly hang out, you have to put your weight on your hands, and that can give you hand pain. But it may be, if you haven't had a bike fit, that would probably be the first place to go. Can Luke get on the bike and go through the pedal stroke slowly so I can see the position of his heel? That's a really good question. And I had forgot to talk about this. So whilst he's getting set up, do want to say that your foot should just kind of hang off your leg. So you don't want to So you want that ankle to be super relaxed and go through very slow. It's hard to see, but the ankle should just be adjusting for when as the foot is going around, and it should feel like the foot is just hanging off the lower leg. Can you emulate climbing seated, like on a steep? It's hard. So without pushing, some people will push when they're climbing seated on a really heavy climb. It's hard for Luke to do because his bike is flat, but they will drop their heel. And that's perfectly fine, because when you drop your heel and get that angle, you can use the calves and the hamstrings a lot more. And you would probably be a little more engaging the glutes. Then, are you able to stand up?
Yeah.
So when you stand up, the foot looks exactly the same. Can you go up to his hips? And the hips should look exactly the same. So seated and standing, so sit down, the back shouldn't change. Stand up again. And the ankle shouldn't change. And because he can't rock his bike, he's having to kind of do a little bit of holding through the core more. But if he could rock his bike like you normally would when standing, he would be using more of the obliques. And then sit down again. Good. So I hope that answers. Oh, perfect. Thanks. Great. Thanks. I'm going to send Luke over looking for more. God, he's like, definitely give him a hand, because he's definitely like Vanna White. And I think that's it. Great. You got a hand also on there. So again, if somebody thinks of a question later on, feel free to email me. You can find my email on the website of the Movement Company website. Or you could probably even email through Eventbrite. I think there's some kind of way of getting hold of us through that too, and it can be sent to me. Anyway, thanks guys. That was awesome. Yeah, thank you.